Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy StumpD back for the OPTC video. In today's video, we're diving back into another tier list for support rare recruits. Now, I highly suggest, just like on PvP banners, always doing the discount for support rare recruit banners. Unlike PvP banners, the first multi is always discounted, and you are guaranteed a support rare recruit. Not only that, but the second multi is a recommended character step. So in today's video, we're going to take all of the characters that you can summon on support rare recruit banners, being the support rare recruit units, putting them on a tier list for you guys, so you newer players or mid-game players or even some of the end-game players that are just thinking, what does he reckon the best support rare recruit is? We're going to put them onto a tier list, sort of to see which ones are the most valuable and which ones are the least valuable. Whenever it comes to leveling up support characters, though, I would always recommend to level up a support character, whether it be a support rare recruit or a legend or a rare recruit. Level up their support on a need-to-use basis. The friendship items, they do come around quite frequently if you're an endgame player, but for new players, they are kind of hard to get your hands on. So hopefully this tier list helps you guys out. If it does, make sure to go down there, belt the like button, hit the subscribe button, do all that good stuff for me. With that said, let's dive into the support rare recruit tier list. Alright, so before we dive in, a huge shout out to the tier list maker. I'll leave a link in the description if you guys want to make your own tier list. Tag me on Instagram, tag me on Twitter, tag me wherever you guys are going to be posting it, because I'd love to check out what you guys think is the best support rare recruit. Also, let me know down below in the comment section what you guys believe to be the best support rare recruit is. Now, the top tier here, we have Godly. This tier is pretty much the ones you're going to use all the time, no matter what the situation. Like, they're cooldown reducers, they do end of turn damage, or they get resistance down, or they remove nasty defects. Like, these are going to be the best of the best. Elite is going to be like just under that. It's not that they're not godly, it's just that they're probably used a little bit less. Useful is just like, okay, when the situation comes around, like, it's going to be nice. Niche is on a need-to-need basis. And then finally, bad is you're probably never going to use. Now, as always, I highly recommend not leveling up supports unless it's a need-to-use basis. Like, I do want to stress that. However, hopefully this particular tier list is going to help you guys out with looking at support rare recruit banners in what you want to see when you are doing your multis, or which ones are going to be worth doing that second multi for, depending on which of these characters are recommended. So this is all the support rare recruits in the game that are available on particular banners. Now, you can pull any of these on any banner. However, every 2 months, a new banner will come around that'll have 4 recommended characters. It'll have the new support and then 3 others. And hopefully this tier list, like I said, helps you guys decide whether you want to do that second multi or not. But let's dive in. First we have Markano. Markano's bad. Like, she's just stats. You're never really going to use her. You got Suru. She's end of turn damage, which is kind of niche. Good for getting around resilience, but she only really goes on Sengoku and Garp, or at least that's who you're going to use her on. Next we've got Konus. Konus is useful. 1 turn of defense up removal on perfects. No, I know she goes on Usopp and Sanji. I think she goes on like Ganfor as well. And you do more damage against Enel. So, pretty niche situations where you need her, but the fact that she goes on a Sanji or she goes on Usopp just to tap and remove 1 turn of defense up is really, really good. Sabo, oh man, I want to say Sabo's godly. 1.5 times stat boost on any Luffy. I believe he goes on Koala as well, but like the Luffy, mainly for Rush Gear 5, this is a disgustingly powerful support for your big damage teams. Next we've got Iceberg. Iceberg is kind of niche. Goes on Frankie, can remove Special Bind and Despair, I believe, but it's only on Frankie. So it's not like for the whole crew. I know it's Special Bind. I can't remember exactly what the other ability is, but it's very, very niche. Dagmar, he's bad. Same with Olympus. Olympus is bad too. Honestly, so is Oven. Oven, I think, is color affinity to powerhouse units. I guess you could maybe argue he's niche, but look, he'll be at the back end of niche at the very least. There's just better options for what you're trying to do. Honestly, I'm not putting him bad. Mistims is useful. I mainly, you know what, I'm going to put him in Elite. He goes on like Luffy, Sanji, Carrot. Very, very nice if you ever get paralyzed or Special Reverse. He gives 3 turns of cooldown, which is massive when you are doing speed runs. And he gives 75% damage reduction, which is really, really good if you're doing stuff with like Verse Yamato's damage reduction buff. It's very, very nice. Kyoshiro, another godly support. I'm going to put him in godly for now. He could be like top end of Elite. But I just think he's way better than Mistims. 4 turns of resilience and defense art removal, as well as a chain boost that goes on Zoro. The big downside is he only goes on Zoros that do damage, but we have a lot of them in the game now. King of Hell Zoro, Clash Zoro, Zoro Sanji, like, he can go on a lot of Zoros, and his big issue was that no Zoros would do damage, but now we have Zoros that just do a lot. Strusen is bad. Wanda's, look, she's useful. Mainly what I use Wanda for is the orb locking ability. She was made for Carrot when she released, but she also goes on, like, Nami, so that way you can use her on, like, Straw Hat Crews and stuff like that. But the upside to, like, having an orb lock ability is actually pretty useful. Brule, I put Brule at the back of Godly. I think Brule still holds her own. She once upon a time was probably called the best support rare recruit in the game. 2 turns of cooldown that goes on, like, Carrot, Nami, and Luffy, and rotates block orbs on the final turn. Like, it's pretty godly. Bath Time Carrot. I'm going to put Bath Time Carrot in Elite, just because I haven't really had a need for Bath Time Carrot in a very long time. Goes on Nami and Wanda for 2 turns of defense up removal anytime you hit a perfect with that unit. Like, that's the big upside to the character. She was a demon for Heavenly Demon 2, but nowadays, like, just not so much. Daifuku. Daifuku removes 4 turns of defense up, and he gives adjacent orbs recovery. I believe he goes on, like, Katakuri, what's his name? Smoothie, Cracker, and Big Mom. Nowadays, he's pretty niche, to be honest, just because we haven't really had good representation. I'm going to put him at the back end and useful, actually, because, EX Big Mom is so powerful. What's his name? Caesar. Caesar goes on Doflamingo, or he goes on Kaido. However, they need to use an attack boosting or orb boosting special. He can remove 2 turns of bind, as well as give a self-proccing conditional to poison. So he gives poison and a 1.5 times boost. He's actually really good. The problem is he just doesn't have a lot of characters that he can go on. Like, Superclass Doflamingo comes to mind. Rush Kaido comes to mind. Super Tandem Kaido comes to mind. Like, those characters are really, really good for him, but, like, that's pretty much the only time you're going to use him. And if that, like, it's kind of whatever. Next, we've got Shuten Maru. Very, very good for extra damage. 1.3 times base stat booster, just like this up here, is very good. And he goes on any strength powerhouse unit. So any character that has that combination is very, very good. Same with Moria. He goes on any int-driven character, so you can just get a 1.3 times base stat boost, which is excellent for more damage because it lasts the whole turn. Robin, honestly, Robin's kind of niche. I believe she removes 2 turns of Bind and Despair, as long as the quick Cerebral character removes Bind and Despair themselves. Most of the time, I use this unit on, like, free-to-play Uta, if I'm ever using her. But look, she's pretty niche, to say the least. The Chopper that came alongside her, look, he's a bit more useful because he gives a 1.5 times color affinity boost to quick and Cerebral characters. As long as he goes on a quick Cerebral that uses a special, you get access to this. It's a little bit more useful. Like, the damage output is actually quite nice. And 1.5 times color affinity when you need it, like, it's pretty good. This, I can't remember what whatever it is. I'm going to put them in the back end of Niche. Honestly, I think that you're a bit better than Iceberg. I'm going to put the back end at Niche because if you can get them on a quick character that is an orb booster, they're very good. They remove, like, 2 turns of bind, I believe. And they give an attack boost. They do something. I don't know. But, like, I haven't used this unit since, like Versa Kainu days. The unit just has never really found anyone that could go on them because there's no unit that gives a quick unit that gives a orb boost that makes them, like, this unit or this support character shine. Mr. 3. Mr. 3 is my most used support. I use this support, like, religiously. On turn 3... any driven or free spirit character can get 2 turns of cooldown and you get 3 turns of 50% damage reduction. It's a disgustingly good support. It's great for stuff like the damage reduction buff of Yamato. It's always proccing on turn 3 for Kazunas. It's just a free 2 turns of cooldown and it goes on so many characters. Like, it's very, very good. Mr. 1 and Double Finger is an elite support. 4 turns of damage reduction removal, a 0.7 chain boost, as well as 4 turns of paralysis removal. Goes on Robin, goes on Crocodile. This support's going to be amazing for the new Cross Guild unit. Just fantastic. Like, a really, really good unit. Honestly, very, very close to Godly. Look, if I've got Kiyoshiro up there, I feel like I've got to have them up there. Yeah, they're pretty godly. Next, you got the Mr... Mr. 5, I think it is, and I can't remember what miss that is. They give 2 turns of Despair removal, and they do a 1.5 times attack boost to shooters and strength units. However, they only go on shooter strength characters that rotate orbs. They were built for Verse Ace, just like this character only goes on, I believe, powerhouse quick characters or driven quick characters. There's just a little bit more usage for this particular support, because you have your stuff like Stampede Buggy, like I said, Verse Ace. The new Van Olga can actually use this. Same with the new Vasco Shot. It's actually a pretty good support, and one that you're going to see a lot of play with. I'm actually going to bring it down to useful, and I'm going to bring these 2 up, just because these go on so many more characters than what you're seeing down here. You're probably a little bit higher, and you actually probably come down here somewhere. Yeah. I'm going to put that in useful. These, like I said, any strength powerhouse, any int-driven characters, like, it's very, very handy. Sengoku was built for Dex Law. Any law that does damage, you're going to get... no, not Dex Law. It was built for Lufian Law. You're going to rotate all of the orbs of the same type that character has and give a chain boost of 0.7. Now, this was good when it first came out. I believe this was actually a global first. This is really, really good when you can actually use it. However, there's not a lot of, like, law characters that do damage anymore. And when they do, like, the 0.7 chain boost is kind of whatever. I think going on Kid Law is a bit of a good one. But nowadays, like, I don't know, just it's kind of niche. Mihawk. Mihawk's probably one of the best supports in the game, in my opinion. 2 turns of cooldown on any int free spirit or int slasher character. 2 turns of cooldown on the final stage is disgusting. Sets defense to 0. Disgusting. And does end of turn damage. Disgusting. Like, it's just a better version of this Suru, but it's only for the final stage. You can't really proc it whenever you want it to. But the 2 turns of cooldowns, always useful for speed teams. Setting defense to 0, always good if the enemy has massive defense and no immunities to defense down. It is, next to Mr. 3, one of my most used supports. I think it's fantastic. I think it's probably one of the best supports in the game, and if not, at least the top 3 in this particular tier list. Next we've got Ace. Ace is elite. Ace goes on Luffy, Sabo... I believe he goes on like Whitebeard, maybe Marco. He removes 2 turns of defense up and damage reduction and applies a burn mechanic while setting your bottom row character's orbs to matching. It is very, very good. However, the problem with it is it goes on special launch. There's a lot of characters it can go on, which is great. But it only removes 2 turns of defense up, 2 turns of damage reduction. It's a very nice support to have for the characters that it goes on. Problem is with it, the name's Ace. Like, there's just a lot of aces that you probably want to be using. Next, we got Dex Sabo. Dex Sabo is... Not Dex Sabo. Yeah, Dex Sabo. Dex Sabo, Kid Sabo is probably the most used support of 99% of the community. 2 turns of defense up and special bind removal on the final stage. Goes on any Luffy on Ace, which are, like, very prevalent characters in the game. It's a fantastic support. Most people chase it. I understand why. 2 turns of special bind removal is just, it's so valuable to have. Plus, it always procs on the final stage, so you know it's not going to trigger early and then have to worry about, like, later stuff. The upside to supports that trigger on the final stage means that you can bring another support that will trigger earlier, and it just sort of hangs around. But 2 turns of despair and special bind removal is just, it's very, very good. Otoko's pretty good. She has 1 turn of threshold and 1 turn of attack down, I believe. On the final stage, goes on any Psy Slasher character. The fact that it's a Psy Slasher support is very, very good, because there's a lot of Psy Slashers. But it's only 1 turn of attack down, it's only 1 turn of threshold. Like, nowadays we have ships that can kind of do that. But the utility of it just going on any Psy Slasher is what makes her so good. Next we got Whitey Bay. Whitey Bay is godly. I use Whitey Bay so much. Goes on any Ace, Whitebeard. I believe it goes on any Ace. Goes on any Ace, Whitebeard, Marco... I believe it's those types of units. But basically, when you use her use their special, she removes 1 turn of barriers, and that's why she's so good. There's not too many supports in the game that can remove barriers, and you never really want to bring a character on the team that can do that. So having her as a support to remove 1 turn of it, it's very, very nice. Not only that, but she gives 1 turn of chain boosting as well at 0.7, which is very, very valuable. And she removes 1 turn of bind. So, very, very nice support. The barrier removal, though, is crazy. Plus, when you have characters like Whitebeard, Roger, and then, what's called basically every ace in the game, like, you can do some crazy things with this particular character. Next, we've got Vivi. Vivi is going to go straight into Godly as well. I think Vivi is one of my top 3 supports alongside Mihawk. Basically, she'll just proc on the final stage. She goes on any Straw Hat up to that particular point of the series, and she removes 2 turns of threshold. Like, plus she does 10% resistance for strength, dex, and quick, so you're just getting free damage on the final stage. Like, it's very, very good. It's great for auto teams. It's terrific for just more damage. Great in Super Boss Kazuna. Great in regular content. Like, it's a very, very good support. Next, we've got Brook. Brook is actually useful. I used to love this Brook. Downside to this Brook is he only goes on any Straw Hat that does base stats. And there's not a lot of characters that actually do that. You've got, like, Robin and Jinbei. You've got Red Rock Luffy. You've got Sop, which is the big one. You've got Rush Sanji, who this character sees a lot of play on. He does remove 3 turns of attack down, which is very, very useful. Very, very useful indeed. However, he just doesn't go on that many characters. You have literally like a selection of 5 characters that you might see this on. Oh, he goes on Nami as well. Super Tandem Nami, actually. The fact that he goes on Super Tandem Nami, I'm going to bump him up, actually. 3 turns of attack down is really, really good. But he also gives a chain boost of 1.1 times. Now, this is a chain multiplicative buff, not a chain boost like what these characters are doing with like 0.7. He's giving a 1.1 times. So you're multiplying that, and it can stack with these types of things and chain boundaries alike. So he's very, very good. It's just the downside to the unit is that he only goes on a couple of characters, and like those characters are pretty exclusive. But if you have them and you have him, you're probably going to use it. Next, we got Carrot. Carrot gives cooldowns on stage 3, gives a tandem orb and removes special blinds. You're mainly using the character for the special reverse. It goes on like Chopper, Nami, Wonder, I believe. It's a good support, and it's one that's very useful, but not one that just sees like a heap of play. Next we got Queen. Queen is very good. Queen's another character that just gives free damage. However, is another character that only goes on a certain amount of units. Gives 1 turn of blind removal too, and then just free 10% resistance to all colors. But it only goes on Yamato or Kaido, and I believe they have to rotate orbs. Goes on King and Jack as well, but there's only like 1 King or Alba that like you can use this on. So again, a very select amount of units, but for what you're getting on the character and what units that you can use this on, he's very, very good. Honestly, I'm probably undersold Brook quite a lot, actually. Brook's probably up here somewhere. Yeah, because like these two units, they give things that you can't really get anywhere else. So I think, yeah, Queen's. I use Queen a lot, especially on Verse Yamato, man. Verse Yamato, this unit reaps so many rewards. Next we got I can't remember this dude's name. Basically, it's one of the Spade Pirates. Came out with Super Tandem Ace. That unit stinks though. And removes 3 turns of bind and something else on the final stage. Goes on Ace characters. Paralysis, I think it is. And then gives like orbs. I have the unit. I never used the unit. It's quite niche. It can see play. But like, the fact it goes on Ace is probably the saving grace. Next you have Atama. Atama's another elite support. 1 turn of paralysis removal as well as 1 turn of threshold, I believe. Goes on Big Mom and Zoro characters are the main ones. And will increase your conditional buffs. Now, the reason I don't have any godly is because like Robin can just sort of do it better. And then obviously Big Mom, EX Big Mom does it better. But this particular character can be used on something like Zoro Sanji. And then you use the Zoro Sanji Super Tandem instead of using like Super Tandem Zoro. The problem I always had with this character was that she came out for Super Tandem Zoro, where Super Tandem Zoro's Super Tandem will just increase that anyway. So, look, it's a very, very good support. However, it clashes with a lot of other really, really good abilities, where these particular supports at the top here, they don't really. They're all just very, very good. Next we got Squad. Squad's useful. But, look, Squad's probably just niche, to be honest. The thing with Squad is he despairs your captain for like 10 turns, but it only activates if your character is the captain. So, really, you're only getting good value for this support out of something like Verse Whitebeard or something like Verse Blackbeard. Now, you can do it on, like, because it goes on Blackbeards and Whitebeards, or Whitebeard, I believe is the character it goes on. Maybe it goes on Blackbeard too. Now, you can get useful out of this if you're running, like, another Whitebeard and then using another friend captain that can just turn Despair into something else. That is always going to work. But the idea of this particular support was to be used along on like Verse Blackbeard. You would Despair yourself This unit gives you like a 2.5 times attack boost or whatever to powerhouse characters. And then Blackbeard would turn that Despair into a buff yourself. You get 4 turns of resilience removal, and you just do a whole bunch of really, really good stuff with a disgustingly powerful support. It's so good for Grand Voyage at Arlong Park. But other than that, I haven't really seen too much play for it. And honestly, with other characters just sort of power creeping versus Whitebeard and versus Blackbeard, like, there's not really too much of a use for it. Moda's pretty useful. I believe she is another resistance down support. She goes on any, like, Dex Cerebral character, which there are a few of them. I believe she came out for Robin and Koala. So a free 10% resistance is really, really good. I don't know. She might do, like, paralysis removal as well, which is actually pretty good. I don't have the support, so me rating her might be a little biased. But I feel like any unit that just gives resistance that can go on a high array of characters should be up here in Elite, like just like these sort of characters are. Maybe we put them down in useful. They can be high-end of useful. Yeah, I think they're high-end of useful. Alright, last 3. We've got Momo. Momo's really good. I would probably say Momo's godly. I'd probably put him around here somewhere. On the final stage, goes on Yamato and Luffy characters. As long as you have them on the team, on the final stage, Momo removes 2 turns of attack down, plus he increases your tap timing for perfect hits to 0.4. Not a lot of characters can actually do this particular buff, and just like Brook giving that particular increase, it's just free damage for you on the final stage. It's very, very good for stuff like auto teams. Like these particular characters are just, they're fantastic for auto teams because they just auto proc on your final stage. But I actually use Momo quite a bit, and obviously with attack down being so prevalent, and then like having the ability to just remove attack down completely with stuff like ships and these types of supports, it's very, very good, and it's very, very handy. Next we got Barto. Barto's pretty good. The thing with Barto is that he gives a threshold to your side of the team, and then on the next turn he gives resistance. And again, resistance is just free damage, but it's only for Int and Psy. So it's great for Gear 5 teams. However, you need to make sure you use it on the turn before, so that way you can carry it into the final stage. Other than that, he doesn't really provide too much. He's probably just a useful support, but look, that free resistance is something nice. It just means you actually have to use it the turn before on one of the Straw Hat characters. Finally, we've got Dogstorm and Cat Viper. They give the tap timing buff for quick slashes. They go on any quick slasher character, but I believe the quick slasher character, yeah, it just has to be any quick slasher character, and it would trigger on turn 3. So it was built for Super Boss Kazuna. Most of the supports are nowadays. But basically, it removes paralysis by 1 turn, I believe, and then gives that extra 5% or 10%, whatever it is, to that final tap buff. Again, it is just free damage, and it will always proc on turn 3. So for me, I believe it'll probably sit somewhere up here, because that fire, it's just going to go into anyone that is your final tapper. Like, it's just, yeah. So, very, very good support. But I think that's going to wrap up the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Let me know in the comment section below if you guys agree with anything, disagree with anything. Remember, this is just my personal opinion by playing the game for a little while. And hopefully, it gives you guys a little bit more of an understanding on where to summon and what supports are going to be disgustingly good for your accounts moving forward. Plus, hopefully, it helps you make that decision. Sometimes you might be thinking like, man, I've done the discount. I didn't really get anything too good. However, the next multi is a recommended step. And the recommended step has Ace, Sabo, Vivi on it, and I'm like, I don't have any of them, and I'm umming and ahhing, so hopefully it helps you guys out, and if it does, make sure to belt the like button. If it doesn't, belt the like button anyway, but if you're new to the channel, hit the big red subscribe button. Most importantly, though, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world, please enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. No!